Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus, King Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe for the no, not the full moon this time, the new moon, the new moon in Aquarius reads. Okay, so we're doing this one a little differently. Howsoever, it should be noted and understood that a lot of these new moon and Aquarius messages will be highly tied and like follow-ups, if you will, maybe even some elaborations and confirmations and such in connection and coherence to the full moon in Leo and the full moon in Leo messages. So I'll let's say it once more. Keep that in mind, even though we're doing it a little differently this time. So I'm gonna try to make sure that this intro is in all of the videos, just to make sure that everybody is informed accordingly to wherever it is that they feel like they're supposed to be. All right. So let me give you a breakdown about what we're looking at here up on this screen right here, right now, and how we're doing this thing. All right. So the first video is going to be the general collective messages. I also have a special video, and this is going to be a consistency as well. And I'm also doing a category and whole like price list section, even for my personal reading options and such for queer people, period. Okay, so yes, so if you identify or you got questions, okay, you got questions and conversations that could be incoherent with that collective, all right, you identify, okay, or you may think you identify, or you got some questions about certain things concerning, maybe you an ally or something, or you thinking about it, listen, if it resonates, however it resonates for you, okay, it's there. All right, and it'll be explained further, what that entails, the purpose of that, as well as, the purpose of the collective in itself. Just off GP, you know what I'm saying? Just existing, period, in this world. Okay, gonna also have a video for the artistic. Shall I was gonna say the autistic collective, but hey, that can apply there also. Okay, but the artistic collective, okay, there's a particular reading video for those people you identify as an artist or use an artist or whatever, or you got questions and conversations, however it resonates. If you resonate with artistry, honey, see if that's where you're supposed to be. All right. And we have a practical collective video. So what that means is anyone who is in a more practical lifestyle, be it you work a more practical job like you drive trucks or you work at a car dealership, you have a typical 9 to 5 type lifestyle. Your career involves pretty much, it kind of has like set steps according. So for instance, the difference between uh going to school for arts is once you graduate, you kind of just free ball. Like you have to make the most of your time there for real, do your good networking and connections and whatnot, to make the most out of your situation once you get out. But if you go to school for like to be a doctor type shit, there's more of certain practical protocols and things of that nature that are set up for, okay, you go to this school for this, and then after that, you're gonna go to this school for this, and then after that, you're gonna go do this and get your job over here and whatever, what have you. Not saying that it's easier, just saying that it flows different. The artistic lifestyle requires more freestyling, while the more practical lifestyle has more specific rules lined up, in which it'll make more sense once we get into it. And this will also be definitely a group that is for people who are teachers, managers, social workers, people of that nature. As well as housewives, house husbands, parents, all of that. And of course, this don't mean that that's all that you do. You can resonate with any other collectives. Like if you lead a more practical lifestyle, that doesn't mean that that's all there is to you, or that that's all that it has to be to you. So that's also why I emphasize, like, if you're having interests that you feel like resonates with any of the other groups, then hey, do your thing, take the meat, spit out the bone. You know what I'm saying? So and there are people who are artists one way or another, and this also includes performing artists, DJs, rappers, the spectrum of musicians, actors, dancers, models included, you know all that. And then also, that being said too, so of course, self-explanatory, the artist, right? But then if you are an agent or a manager or something of the sort, you may lead more with the practical collective, okay? Because those are more practical jobs, even though it can be adjacent to entertainment, right? But because you work with artists, you may also have interest in tuning into the artist's video. You see? Also, and speaking of which too, because there are agents that work for athletes. And so if you're an athlete, athletics and all of that, that is channeled through the practical group as well. So just to give some more indication on the spectrum of the different groups, because of course, remember I said it's a lot to do with a lot of people who lead like kind of a more quote unquote typical 9 to 5 type of lifestyle. However, not limited to that, because we know people who are athletes and coaches and all of that, it ain't so linear either. There's certain linear things, and then there are certain things that get into the freestyle of it all. But yeah. But honey, like I said, if it don't make sense right now, it'll all make sense as we get through it and into it. And honey, at a certain degree, if you don't know, you just won't know in certain cases. We either speak the same energetic language or we don't, honey. But yes, honey, happy to be here and queer. Also, I feel I need to also pinpoint too that queer doesn't have to be limited to sexual identity or gender identity or anything like that. That group also includes people who are polyamorous, polygamous. You got interest in that way. It also includes people who may identify as weird, black sheep, as well as people who may have mental illnesses, personality disorders, like I forgot, what do you call child anyway. But like if you've been mistreated and ostracized on any of the spectrum of like even autism, ADHD, things of that nature, or disabilities, deformities, things of that nature, that is also included in the queer collective. So I want to make that um specification as well. And a lot of these things will be swiftly and briefly reiterated once we get into the specificities of all the different reads. But child, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of said reads. And Sunny's other general collective. And child, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of these new moon and Aquarius reads. And y'all are kicking it off with y'all's Earth Warrior card being the blessings of Kumu. No good thing shall be withheld. And y'all's tarot card here from the Millennial Tarot deck is the Nine of Swords, Sunday Scaries. So this is representing an energy that the collective is going from and into. Going from the Nine of Swords energy into the blessings of Kumu energy. So if you'll notice, of course, it says Sunday Scaries. So what that is coming up here to mean is in coherence with what the Nine of Swords represents, which is the throes, the pains, the slow and stuck feelings and experiences of a grieving process, and or grieving processes. Okay, mourning something, mourning the death of something, the loss of something, the severance of something. Okay, the frequency of death can be the umbrella for all of those things that I just listed off. All that said, so the collective has been, I'm hearing, oh yes honey, I'm hearing for some of you 2025 and January specifically, and maybe some of February, even the first half was rough. Child, it was rough. I keep hearing quicksand. I keep hearing and seeing like quicksand, and I'm also hearing the song Gold by Andra Day. I gave up gold for grains of sand slipping through my hand. Oh, yeah. 234 as that channels through. And what that song entails and the messages that are coming through for it is having some sort of experience where you feel like you played yourself. You feel like you chose something that has turned out to not be as good as what you thought it was. So hence the lyric, gave up gold for grains of sand, which is another type of concept that is adjacent to like thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And the other side of that being the grass is greener where you water it. And what's interesting about that too is the Nine of Swords typically depicts a woman crying, like literally crying into her hands and shit. And you can pretty much get that energy off of the imagery of the depiction in this deck also. Hence she got a pillow there, so it's like, laid up, bed right. Pining type shit, longing, all that good stuff. And so it hits in a lot of different ways. For some of you, it's having to do with jobs. Like, child, you may feel like you chose a job and then you got buyer's remorse after the fact. You thought it was gonna be real good, and then that shit started to take a huge ass toll on you. And some part of that made you feel some sort of lack of trust with yourself that maybe you haven't even really addressed yet. but it's giving also, leaving one job and going to another. And then, so yeah, it's like, picking up this like job hopping energy that it seemed like at one point you took pride in the way that you would leave a job and get another one, leave a job and get another one, lose a job and get another one, and da da da. Da. But somewhere between 2024, last year, and this year, something has been creeping up that has been communicating to you that you've been feeling a lack of trust in your own stability, in your ability to secure yourself and take care of yourself and be stable. There's a parallel of this as it concerns home space, living space. So, house hopping and job hopping. For some of you, it could also, oh goodness, for some of you, it could also be relationship hopping. And when my tongue got tied up right there, I started hearing, oh, voice and relationship, voice and relationship. So it's a message coming up here about the collective needing to be careful about losing their voice in a relationship or losing their voice in relationships. Because again, it's a self-trust issue coming from having done and having had to do so much job hopping, house hopping, and or relationship hopping. And it's like you feel yourself creeping up on the brink of something, creeping up on a milestone. A new blessing, a surprise blessing, or something of the sort, and it's calling you to take a lot of pauses. And in certain ways, because for some of you, I'm picking up that this is not even like a conscious pause. It's like things happening out of nowhere. So, for instance, I'm literally seeing somebody driving. It's like you were on your way to work and the road was clear. They're like completely clear for your first half of driving to work, and then all of a sudden, traffic like a motherfucker out of nowhere. And your first mind is to get irritated as fuck and start crashing out because, oh my God, probably concerned about being late, concerned about, what all of that could mean for you, how it could reflect on you. And, in general, just being caught off guard because it's like smooth sailing, clear road. And then all of a sudden, drastic stop, sudden stop type shit. And that's a paralleling feeling and experience to how a lot of the collective's lives has gone over. I'm here for some of you like the first half of your life. And then for others of you, 2023 was a highlight, and then again somewhere between 2024 and 2025 there was this pause. And for others it's hitting so, likely since the pandemic. Something for some of y'all it's been going since the pandemic. So to sum it up, you had a good run of things going smooth. Like again, you leave a job, get a job, leave a job, get a job. I'm also hearing like if you or a performer or anything of the sort, you doing auditions and you getting gig after gig after gig. And yeah, it's just I'm hearing like offers, accomplishments, even as it concerns relationships, friends rolling in, romantic opportunities rolling in. If you in a relationship in, or if you are in a relationship also, and there has been over the past couple of years or the past year, the past couple of months or so, where it was like at one point y'all was consistent in y'all date nights, and at one point y'all were consistent in making plans to spend time and enhancing, exercise y'all's intimacy more spontaneously yet intentionally type shit. And then somewhere it just like hit a halt. Somewhere it just stopped. And there has it's coming up now. Like it's been kind of like a dissociative energy where you've just been trying to go with the flow and just hope that everything fixes itself, or just waiting for everything to just fall into alignment and fix itself. But this is bringing back up those messages that was talking about being careful not to lose your voice in the relationship. Communication. Yes, there's something here. Virgo energy. Like, oh, okay, I see. This Virgo energy that is too logical, too logical. So it's getting in the way of the magic of the relationship, getting in the way of the magic of the connection. And I'm also hearing that don't. Okay, so if you are not in a relationship, don't count yourself out of this message, because the message is paralleling across the board. So even if it's your job situation or family situation, friend situation, career situation, type shit, it's paralleling that thing where it's still like, be sure that you're not being overly logical and intellectual, and to the point where it's getting in the way of the magic of everything, the magic of your relationship with yourself, the magic of your life, the magic of your job, the magic of you doing what you do, doing the things that you love to do, and who you do it with as well. So yes, magic, voila, magic, yes, God. So the numbers here, we got two nines. So that's representing again that frequency of death. Okay, death that is coming in for the sake of rebirth, and that's exactly the energy that we're getting here. I'm hearing Renaissance. Ooh, lend your soul to inhibition. What it is now? Lend your soul to intuition. Renaissance, revolution. Lift me up even if I fall. Let love heal us all, us all. When I grow up, I'm gonna get me a house, make love in this house. Yes. Don't give a fuck about my house. And get the fuck up out my house. That's House by Beyonce channeling through, and those particular lyrics are the intentional channel lyrics that just channel through. So it's definitely coming up. We're dealing with some home situations, and again, that frequency of home coming back up. So I can't remember what house in astrology has to do with home space, house space. 1, 2, 3 is I'm saying that, and 2, 2, 3 is I'm saying that. But it's a call to action to evaluate the house, the astrological house placement that you have. That is the house of home stuff. Okay. So, 222, as I said that. All right. 222 is a number of victory. So here's what's coming up. For some of you, there is a home dispute type situation going on. Somebody's gonna get put out. Either you finna put somebody out, or they finna try to put you out, or you just gonna fucking wake up one day and be like, fuck it, I'm leaving. And I'm hearing peace, 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 peacefully, peacefully. So, honey. So, along with the number 9, there's also the inevitable channel in there of the angel number 333, okay, which is the number of divine purpose, alchemy. And alchemy is in adjacency with magic. And so, taking it back to those messages that was talking about having some insecurities and trust issues and things of that nature brewing and coming up as it concerns having hopped around so many times and in different ways and whatnot. Spirit is trying to remind you of the magic that is. Like, not everybody is able to consistently take leaps of faith like that and still land on their feet or land on a magic carpet or land on a soft cushion. And so a part of the reason why a like drastic sudden halt came into for some of you, Spirit is saying, and it's channeling like on GTA San Andreas specifically. I know the creators talked about how it's coded for traffic to get absolutely fucking crazy. That just came up again. Traffic, the concept of traffic coming up again. Interesting. But yes, they've expressed how the game is coded for traffic to get ridiculous if you are navigating the game too fast, if you're progressing through the game or traveling through the game too fast. Is to protect the it's also to protect, like, keep it from crashing, basically keep it from developing and spawning things entirely too fast type shit, if that makes sense. So that it doesn't, so that it don't fuck up the game, and also like to also help to enhance your experience of the game. Because if you just zippity doo dying through the journey, you're not really getting a experience. You're not getting a real experience of the game. You just hoppity 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 happening. You just going from one thing to the next. And sure, you collecting a bunch of shit, but you don't have a true sense of appreciation for the things that you're doing for real, because you also not building the memories and connections to characters and the storyline of what you're going through, all of that shit. And so that's paralleling like the real life of it all. There's a portrait on my wall that says life is a beautiful adventure. And so they're channeling that through there. It's because they're trying to get you to, one, remember the magic that is being able to lose something and get it right, spend a check and get it right back. Hey, okay, remembering the magic of that concept. Because of course that song is talking about money, but this is also dealing with a frequency of wealth. Spend that check and get it right back, one way or another, even if it's not from the source that you originally thought that it was going to be. Another aspect of it is going and going and going and going and going and going and going. So this is kind of hitting in the relationship aspect, and romantic relationships as well as friendships is how it's hitting. Experiencing a lot of betrayal and abuse and things of that nature, and kind of just going from one relationship to the next, not taking out any time to like really be to self and evaluate to self. You just like lose one friend and then you let another friend in, lose one relationship, and then you just kind of immediately start looking to whoever the next prospect is, even if y'all don't immediately get into a relationship or whatever, but you immediately start looking to this next person who is a romantic prospect, instead of having any time in between to retrospect to self and really figure out, what went wrong, what happened. Take some time out and evaluate for real, and really shed. And so that's a part of why these halts have happened as well. It's a forced stop. It's a forced pause to get you to clean up and heal some of the wounds first, shed off some of that dead skin, get a greater and evolve your sense of self. Because it's coming up there for some of you, it's a lot of things that you really don't know It's a lot of things that you don't know about yourself, about the world around you, about even the things that you have experienced because you have yet to stop. You have yet to stop for real. And for some of you, even in the forced pause that y'all have been in, and even like what I'm hearing is like, for those of you that have been for those of you that are in a relationship and have been in a relationship, and it was that thing that it was talking about, at one point y'all were on point with prioritizing y'all's date nights and intimacy and romance and all of that shit, and now it's just kind of been like what is it, two ships passing in the night type shit, or y'all rarely see each other, can't get y'all schedule on one accord and type shit. So a part of that too is a forced stop. A part of that is the universe isolating you so that you can have true introspection time, true time to yourself. It's this frequency of codependency that spirit is trying to break. Because for some of you, mhm, something is about to happen that severs ties to some major attachment. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It's probably, a hell of a lot of different things because this is the general collective. So you just have to think about whatever it is that's been seeming like it's been hanging by a thread, or seeming like the pot is about to boil over and make a mess. So for some of you, for some of you, it's one thing ending so something else can come in. And for others of you, there's a cycle ending in a relationship, a connection, an attachment, or even, this can also be within, for a rebirth, for a resurrection of better. Now, to get into the cricks and crannies of the cards, well, we've been in there, but we're gonna get even deeper. So the blessings of Kumu, no good thing shall be withheld. So these are rewards coming through for divine endurance. Okay, you all have been doing a great job at divine endurance. And when this card comes up, it's all about resources that you've been waiting on, praying for, working so hard for all of this time coming through. And there's also emphasize recognition being brought to the value of rest and relaxation, pauses and things of that nature, allowance of the self to pause, reflect, and reset. There's even a part in the text for this card that says relax and substitute stress for absolute trust that God, the universe, will provide all good things with generosity and grace. And that also parallels those messages that we're talking about, remembering the magic that it is that you have been able to jump from one thing to the next and land safely on your feet and land safely into better situations than you were before. That's a reflection of you regardless. So give yourself more credit where it is due. It's just kind of for all the while to also allow yourself to be more vulnerable with yourself as it concerns your negative emotions and negative experiences that you've had. Because it's just this thing here where God is saying, you know, for the most part, a lot of the collective, it'd be like this sometime. But it's like this strong black woman energy, just trying to be so strong, so strong. I always want to prove to yourself and everybody else that you're the strong one. And it's not to say that you aren't. It's just also you have your own weaknesses too. You have your own struggles and challenges and things of that nature too. And if you're not going to be compassionate and patient and vulnerable with yourself, then who else is going to be that for you for real? And how can you recognize when someone is being there for you? How can you set those parameters and even let down certain guards for someone else or other things to revitalize you and be vulnerable with them for you? And, fill in your blanks. And that's where those messages come back up that was talking about being overtly logical and intellectual. Because I'm hearing somebody really, so Spirit is saying there's someone, or a lot of y'all, but there's this thing of trying to be too mature, wanting to handle, and it's gonna sound weird, right? Wanting to handle every situation with logic and intellect, wanting to have all the conversations, with a total cool head and organization and all of these things, which is not a bad thing. What Spirit is saying here is that over that over effort to always be the one to keep the peace and to always expect and try so hard to have every conversation be the utmost mature is unrealistic, because of course it's like it's on the lines of false positivity, always trying to handle every conflict with light and love and bubblegums and roses and or just a peaceful severance, when some shit has to get loud, some shit has to get dark, some shit has to be a fuck you bitch motherfucker, get the fuck off my dick and the fuck out my house, get the fuck up out my house Don't give a fuck about my house and get the fuck about my house. Hmm. So that makes even more sense as to why that song was channeling through, okay? And also take that as a layered thing. So it may not even be a literal, for some of you, it may not be a literal house living situation. Is dealing with the frequency of home. Okay. And I am picking up some people that you used to live with a significant other, but y'all broke up or something happened, y'all not together no more, or y'all just not living together no more. And it's like the negative energy of the relationship, the negative energy, the negative memories of the relationship, and all of that is still haunting the home. So you're definitely needing to like sage the home, do some cleansing castings around your home space to release that energy out of there. And that is also a lot of what the blessings of Kumu has to do with as well. Transmutation, um specifically in the form of death to one thing and then a resurrection coming in after. So some key symbolisms of the card are the dreamer, the visionary, the seer of transformative needs, especially as it concerns for the world, as well as radical change. And the word kumu is Hawaiian for the teacher and or source of wisdom. And that brings in the lyrics, experience is a good teacher. Take someone like me to know. So yes, experience is a good teacher. And that goes back to those messages where Spirit was saying, a lot of you have not and or had not had any real pause and smell the roses, even if they smell like boo boo. As it concerns the things that you've been through, needing to pause, because again, those messages that we're also saying, it's a lot that you don't know about yourself, and it's a lot that you don't even know about your experiences. One, because of how trauma impacts the brain. Okay, and along with the mind, body, and spirit. And that's another reason why that logic and intellect thing is coming up, is because the frequency of trauma has compromised the frequency of logic and intellect in this case. That's why it's so overt. It's because it's trauma responsive. So that's why it is getting in the way of what you're feeling. That is a song challenge. That's Jill Scott. So yeah, that's why in these cases the logic and intellect has been getting in the way of what y'all are feeling, and it getting in the way of what y'all are feeling and have been feeling automatically gets in the way of you having a real connection and clarity about who you are and your relationship with yourself, as well as it concerns your intuition. So that's another reason why these attachments and such have been dissolving. And I'm hearing that for some of you, it's going to be some other attachments and such that will dissolve. And it's for the sake of you stopping and smelling the roses, even if they smell like boo boo. You can also consider that you can also consider that a song channeling. And what they're saying, Caroline, Caroline. So what Spirit is saying was as a message to that song. So there's some of you. Oh, okay. So this is coming up very layered. All right. Bear with me. So for some of you, it's just one way, and for others of you, it's going both ways. So someone or some people don't want to be like Caroline, meaning you don't want anyone to feel about you the way Outkast communicated they felt about Caroline on that song. Trying so hard not to be a bitch, trying so hard not to be a rose that smells like boo boo. But in actuality, it's a time and a place for everything. And what Spirit is saying, consider that what did they do to Caroline? All they did was sit up and say, "Oh, she a bitch. I hope she trying to put up on her makeup in the mirror and crash into a ditch." Like, damn, what type of people are they to say something like that about somebody? What is Caroline's side of the story? And so with that, Spirit is saying you already are Caroline. So it's bringing up, that's interesting because, okay, it's bringing up, and this is a way, it's some messages here being followed up from the full moon and Leo messages. You'll know what's for you, okay? But yeah, they're saying you already are Caroline. You just haven't realized it yet. And this is a part of why you're needing to stop and smell the roses, even if they smell like boo-boo. Because yes, it's Spirit is saying somebody don't know that they shit stink. Somebody don't realize that they shit stink too. And or you're trying so hard to act like it's like somebody who's trying so hard to act like they don't boo boo or act like they don't fart. And so yes, this is also called hyper civilization, and it is a trauma response. And so how this is coming up, for one, is trying so hard to not be a victim, that you're not facing the reality that you have been victimized several times. And you have wounds from that. You have triggers and traumatic effects from that. And Spirit is saying, honey, for some of y'all, you need help. And it's probably for a lot of y'all, you need help. Honey. That's no tea, no shade, but it's just getting you all more honest with yourself, because for those of you that are in a relationship, for some of you, this is a part of why the intimacy and the romance has been lacking, because in simple terms, your mate is feeling like you're fake. They're feeling like you're fake. They're feeling like you carry yourself too much like your shit don't stink. And it's so much so that they smell it. They smell it, but the fact that you sit up and seem to truly not have a cognizance that is shitty around you, is shit in your aura that you have yet to stop and cleanse out, you know? And so in certain ways, they have been avoiding you. Hmm. Yes, that's how it's coming up there for some of you, that they've been avoiding you because they don't feel like they are able to be honest with you. They don't feel like they're able to have real conversations with you because you don't have real conversations with yourself in some way. There's some way that your sense of reality is blocked within yourself. And it's like they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what to do with it. For some of you, that this, may also apply to. For some of you, they're not provocative, but for others of you, they are provocative and they keep doing things to try to get you to bring your dark side out. And it's not, for some of you, it's not necessarily them trying to be sadistic. It's them trying to get the real out of you, because it's just a reality that nobody is cool, calm, and collected all the time. Nobody has gone through, several relationships of abuse and, moving from one home to the next, or, job ostracization, losing friends and family members, whether you lost the relationship or you severed the relationship, or people may have literally passed away, and you just been going and 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 just trying to keep everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. And it's great to have the regimens of, whatever, yoga and journaling and all of those, the light, love, and healings of it all. But also, it's a time and a place for a rage room. It's a time and a place for, hey, excuse me, sir. I done said such and such all these many times, and I'm not gonna keep saying it so nice. Okay, which brings up me. Fuck it, bitch, I'm not nice. Uh-huh. Fuck it, bitch, I'm not nice. I'm the shit. I'm done with being humble because I know that I'm that bitch. And that's also a lot of the energy and messages that come through with the blessings of Kumu. Because it's also a need to release attachments to the trauma responses. That, yeah, there are some habitualized trauma responses that a lot of you think are healing, and that a lot of y'all think it's normal. It's like it's such a habit that you think it's a part of your personality, but in actuality, it's a trauma response. Like overly policing your reactions to things. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So what that entails again is this cleansing thing. So remember those messages that came out about cleansing the home space, needing to cleanse out the disservicing energies from the past, needing to intentionally do so. I am hearing somebody needs to take a very deep, hot bubble bath. hmm And someone also needs to do a rage room. So balance is basically how that's coming through. Bell hands, bell hands, bell hands. Yes, okay. And Spirit is saying, you're not challenging your relationships for real if you're not letting yourself truly embrace your dark side, let alone to show it when the time and place is necessary. You know? Trying so hard to avoid stuff that you're being fake. That's how that's coming up here. And also, again, it doesn't mean that you're going out of your way to like cause problems and shit, but it's like being honest about how things make you feel and taking the challenge. Like, it is brave to confront issues, especially without cloaking how you truly feel about it. Like you're trying to be professional all the time. That's what it is. They're trying to handle everything like professionally. When so, for instance, let's say your mate always leaves the lights on at night. Like, it's always some major light in the kitchen or something that they leave on every night is running up the bill, using too much energy and this and that. And you tell them, hey, stop leaving that light on, please. Or, per my last email, you left the light on last night. And remember, we talked about this and da 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 da. And you try to handle it like that every single time. But unfortunately, some people are so habitualized to, hey, get in there and turn that light off. I'm not gonna say it again. That if that's the type of person that you're committed to dealing with, you're gonna have to meet them where they at. And there's also some part of you that has to get real about, is that you? Is that you? Do you resonate with that for real? And if not, then there's a whole nother level of that conversation that has to happen. So amongst this, amongst this, Spirit is calling for a gratitude list. as it concerns the past and the present. So that's very simply stated. Another song that channeled through was Perfect by Pink. And Spirit calls to action for y'all to, take that in on your individual basis. Ask Spirit for divine direction of what it's supposed to mean to you, journal about it, all that good stuff. I'm also hearing that if you're going to a rage room, that might be a song that you want to put on your playlist for when you're doing your rage out. Okay, so huge emphasis throughout this on letting go for the sake of receiving, because this card is all about God's promise to restore, God's promise to revitalize, God's promise to allow and make sure that your latter days are better than your former. And that brings through as well some universal messages, like such as what's going on in the world, what's going on in, whatever countries or states and such that we live in, governmental stuff and all of that. Spirit is saying the is shifting. The same way these messages that have been coming up as far as like shifting, going from this downtrodden energy into something that is more promising and more blessed, more generous, attentive, and abundant. You're about to start seeing things get better in the world. You're about to start seeing better displays of humility and humanity, better displays of love, better examples of creativity, people telling divinely designed stories, people doing what's right and being rewarded for it. People being able to truly do what they love and not have to work themselves to the bone just for a little bit of nothing. Like real abundance, real pay, high pay, low maintenance type energy is coming in. Relief. Emphasis on relief. That's what I keep hearing. Emphasis on relief. Okay, providing with grace and love. So people giving more freely. Also, I'm hearing like people making better efforts to treat their employees better, people being held more accountable. So I'm picking up whistleblowing. It's a lot of whistleblowing that's about to happen. Organizations that are being formed and such. Oh yeah, it's a lot of moving in silence that's been going on for quite a few different groups and collectives and such. And they're about to get, and it's not loud. Their voices are about to project. It's not a yell, but the voices are about to project. So it's moves that's about to be made like chess, and it's gonna have a huge impact. So it's getting. I'm hearing not okay. So in some areas, I'm getting explosive, and in other areas, just like checkmate. Literally, just checkmate. Snap checkmate. So and that is bringing in the song channeling of it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Hey, and with that, ooh, this was something that I was seeing in my sleep, and it's crazy that it's channeling through this reading now. So, salts of grain, salts of grain, salts of grain. This is a message that is coming through. There is a government official who is dead, but it hasn't been announced. I'm hearing like Weekend at Bernie's. They're being propped up. They're being propped up and protected because they don't want people to know that they're afraid that if everybody finds out that this person is dead, that it's gonna be a whole huge uproar, rebellion, things of that nature. So that's something that's being I don't know. But that's something that's channeling through, child. That's something that just channeled through. And with that, it's the song from The Lion King, Be Prepared. But it's also The Sun is Rising. So, yes, that makes sense. That makes sense to the energy of the messages that came through, as well as the cards here from darkness to light, as well as that frequency of death, the frequency of death, necessary death for resurrection and renaissance, relief and restoration to come into play. Interesting, interesting. Well, child. Huh. So, as y'all already know, this is just the general collective reading. If you want to get some extra details, it'll likely be some extra clarity and elaborations and more specificity as we get into the other collectives that I'm gonna be doing. Y'all know I'm doing a queer collective, artist collective, as well as the practical collective. Okay, you may resonate with one or more of those other collectives, and I'm sure there'll be some new messages as well as some elaborations and follow-ups. And like I said, more cricks and crannies of clarification that, weren't able to get into in this one. It's a huge collective type shit. But I believe I put it down well enough for y'all to pick it up. You know what I'm saying? But definitely make sure that You stay tuned and come on back through for whichever other collective that you feel you may belong to and resonate with. And there is a prayer from the text for the card, The Blessings of Kumu. So, the yes, the prayer for this card, I will read it off to you all. I am so grateful for the generosity, abundance, and attentiveness of the universe to my needs. I am provided for with such grace and love. All resources for my life purpose to be successfully and joyfully expressed are freely given to me. May all beings consciously know the loving embrace of the universe and fulfill their sacred purpose. So be it. Yes, God. Yes, God. So, this final wrap up statement on that amongst talked a lot about stopping and smelling the roses, even if they smell like boo boo, retrospection, introspection, reflection. And all of this for the sake of release so that you can receive. And amongst remembering that it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not innately a bad thing that you had to jump around a lot or that you have been in and out, in and out, in and out of a lot of different circumstances, relationships and things of that nature. Remember the blessing that it is that you've been able to take so many leaps of faith and or have the rug snatched out from under you and you still be able to land on your feet and in better situations than before. Again, that's a reflection of you and that's a reflection of God and that's a reflection of God's favor for you and over you. Yes, God. And so, in remembering that, you're meant to use it to heighten your faith in yourself. And there is no faith without patience. There is no patience without faith. If you have a hard time waiting, truthfully, patiently, and truthfully, patiently does not mean dissociating from the circumstance that you're in while you're waiting. True patience is being honest. Like, for instance, if you at a grocery store and you standing in line and you getting tired of waiting. True patience is being honest. Man, I'm tired of waiting. Fuck, I got hella other shit to do. My feet hurt. I got a potty. Like, what's going? Oh, they taking all day, honey. They taking all day. But child, I know once I get up here and I get all of this stuff done, I'm gonna get to my car. Okay, I'm turning on some good music. This food, all this food, and snacks I got, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna get to the house. I'm gonna cook. Run my bath water. It's up. You know what I'm saying? So, key things to take away from that scenario that I just gave. We often have the misconception that in order to be patient, it requires us to be silent about our complaints. We have been taught that we are not being patient if we are complaining or acknowledging how the waiting process is making us feel. True patience is being true also about your emotions, which is a part of being true to yourself. Balance of acknowledging what you have to complain about, which is likely rightfully so. Okay, feelings valid. Making sure that you're handling your feelings properly and you restore that, right? You release those expressions of your complaints and then you restore yourself with the hope, with the optimism, with the knowing that once you make it to your destination, once the mission is accomplished, it's all worth it, right? Because you could stop and be like, bro, I'm sick of this shit. I'm just fixing to put this stuff back on the shelf and I'm going home. And then what you gonna eat? Or you may eat something that is of lower quality than what you would have had to eat that you was getting from the store. Okay, and then that can have all types of ramifications after that. Then you trying to get to work the next morning and you're fucking starving and you're sleepy. Now you get to work and you cussing folks out. Now your job is threatened. Okay? Pick up what I'm putting down. So again, it's releasing this yes, that's what that Virgo energy was coming in too. Releasing this overly logical and intellectual thing that is in association with perfectionism. And again, releasing the belief system that you're only being patient if you're just waiting in silence and basically lying about how the waiting process and shit is making you feel. So yeah, also um it's also coming up about releasing mindsets that thinking that if you're resting or if you're paused, that you're not serving a purpose, that you're being lazy, that life is just going on without you and whatnot. Like, again, that's also what the Blessings of Kumu card has so much to do with, as well as the Nine of Swords card. The necessity of taking time out to rest and relax. And there is rest and relaxation in release through tears and through facing and unpacking your negative emotions as well and allowing yourself to learn more about who you are, even in the negative ways, even in the painful ways, even in the imperfect and ugly ways. And again, that makes sense why the song Perfect by Pink channeled through and is channeling through once again. So, child, I'm gonna leave it there. All right. Okay. I believe it's about that time where I remind y'all. You give a man a fish, he eat for a day. You teach a man a fish, he eat for a lifetime. Y'all go fishing, baby. And with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this gouger right. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly qualities for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.